Hi everybody, welcome to this Pro and Expert level free video playthrough for the Driving Legends 9-hole cup here on the BK Golf Clash YouTube channel. Please hit thumbs up on the video if you haven't done so already. Make sure you subscribed as well. Loads of useful content on the channel homepage to help you improve at Golf Clash. We're going to take a look at all 9 holes of this tournament, mixture of Old Bridge Park and Quail Hollow. Now most of the shots, in fact all of them, are taken from expert tournaments, but you might well and probably will be able to tweak some of the approaches and general routes if you're playing in pro as well. Obviously you'll have less wind to deal with, but you are using the same tee. Like I said, timestamps in the video description down below if you want to skip back and forwards between the holes. Gives you a good idea of some of the routes you might want to take. We won't know the exact tournament wins, however, until the tournament begins. Here we go. Good luck, everybody. If you get tailwind, you might want to cut the corner on this dogleg and go full blast. But however, this is not a guarantee that you're going to roll out. As you can see here, I've got the extra mile and a berserker. So if you don't have a club with a load of topspin and have not got predominantly strong tailwind, then I would not recommend you play this shot. If you do want to go for it though, max top, 2 right, apox 7 or 8 would be alternatives here. You can see I'm just aiming there into the trees, but obviously stretching out to view the line as going to the green. Max plus 0 power 5 settings, pushing up to max. In the video I didn't quite do that. I should have done because I only just trickled out of the rough here. Now if you don't want to go aggressive, or if you feel you haven't got the wind angle for it, then play down the fairway to the right. You can set up with the quarterback so you've got a good ball guide. Switch to your distance driver, just lay up down there and you will have a very nice long iron to the pin. If you are going to play the layup, go max plus 10 on the drive and then true club distance, either 0 to 10 elevation on the approach on this par 4. Now we have a long par 5 here. We're going to go with a luminary here because this is a look at the aggressive option to get an albatross. Going plenty of top spin, 2 bars of right spin. If you haven't got the luminary and you want to play with a kingmaker, then I would always go with 3 bars of right spin, as much top spin as you can. As you can see, I'm setting up at plus 24 with APOC 5 and above. P5 max rest with APOC 4. Power 5 ball does help. However, if you don't have any and don't want to spend any, then you can play this hole and grab a safe eagle with a power 3 ball. Max over power. Plenty of curl to the right to follow the fairway round. You will need less curl though if you were using a side spin 3 ball. But the idea here, if you want to attack the albatross, you need a drive distance of about 410 yards. If you're going to go for it, we're going to use our sniper with the power 5 ball, and we're always going to play with 2 bars of right spin, and it's going to be between 2 and 3 backspin depending on the wind angle. There's a little bit of headwind here, so I'm going to have that ball guide going through the hole by about 2 green squares. If you have tailwind, then obviously you want to leave that ball guide just short of the hole. If you don't want to play the rough bump, then I would recommend, especially if you're playing a power 3 ball, to go with the big dog or cataclysm, and then you're just going to play a max curl shot bouncing on the fairway with some backspin and max right spin and hop over the rough onto the green, either be wedging or a putt for the eagle. So that's your safe option. Like I said, this is aggressive, max plus 0 on the drive, and then second shot we're playing landing position plus yards. So it's 5% elevation here, playing it 82% on the slider. It's up to you how you want to approach this hole though. If you're chasing for the albatross, then I would strongly recommend you go aggressive with the drive, strap on that power 5 ball and dial in the rough bump there for your albatross. Now we have tailwind on this par 4. You're not going to get tailwind all the time, but if you do, then berserker is needed. We're going with 5.8 top spin, and we're not going to play with any side spin here. I'm at P5 max rest with APOC 5 and above. If you're playing in pro, extra mile 8 would work. You would need to try and squeeze a few more yards out of it, but you would have 6 bars of top spin, so you can get down there. However, this is a very, very narrow line. Max plus 10, then we are going to make a push-up so that we gain enough distance. Now, if you don't have the wind angle for it, or indeed you just don't fancy this approach, you can lay up. If you get to thorn range, I would recommend you could play a max backspin shot with the thorn and bounce above the pin and use the backspin to roll back. The alternatives, if you're getting a load of headwind, you can play a grizzly approach here. It's difficult, though, to find a consistent landing spot down to the green. So if you get tailwind, I would strongly recommend you blast this one down there. Endbringer School plus 20 P5. Just going to show you very quickly the setup here because you may need to use different spins. So I'm just showing you here what type of shot you're going to be left with. But it is a very simple endbringer with a nice landing spot. On to what I think is the most boring hole ever to be designed in Golf Clash. No redeeming features whatsoever. Extra Mile 9, Apox 7 or 8, Thor's Hammer, anything with a load of distance and topspin. Put your power 5 ball on, preferably with wind 0 or 1 if you get tailwind, and blast it down there. You're probably not going to get an albatross on this hole because it is so utterly long. Even with a topspin boost ball, it's going to be very difficult to get that albatross. So I'm looking for a safe eagle, preferably a cheap one. Max plus 10, push up, go full overpower. With the extra mile, greats will not be very safe if they are double great left or right because the fairway is narrow. If for some reason the game makers are feeling absolutely horrible and you don't get any tailwind, then this is going to be very boring indeed. Titan, Berserker, maybe a Kingmaker if you fancy it, but I wouldn't waste too much on this one. You're going to need the big dog or the Cataclysm for the second shot. Add some topspin, stretch out, get that second bounce just beyond the rough line because there is some tailwind. Now if there's headwind on this one, then you're going to have to use a lot more topspin. If it's predominantly tailwind, use less topspin. Just make sure that second bounce is a fraction before the rough because you're going to get that ball guide. The flight of the ball will be pushed further with the tailwind. So we're going to adjust this one max plus 20 because there is a lot of crosswind. If it was more tailwind and less crosswind, I'd probably reduce that down to max plus 10, to be honest, just putting a bit more extra elevation on for the side wind. Pushing up the amount of rings I was stretching out to find that aim. It does take me to overpower a little bit here, so even with a good drive, with a big driver, you're still going to have to work a bit. So distance driver, load of topspin, big dog or Cataclysm, whichever is the best one in your bag, and you just want to clear the rough in that bounce there, get right over the rough and roll onto the green and putt for your eagle on this extremely tedious par 5. Showing you an aggressive route on this par 4. Obviously it's not going to work in every single wind angle, so if you don't have good tailwind and strong tailwind, then you're going to lay up towards the bunkers and then play hopefully with a max distance short iron rough bump to the pin, or minimum distance long iron if you get headwind. Both of them are very good chances. I would play them a 0% elevation. But here in this example, max plus 10 on the drive, going with a little bit of top spin with a Berserker and the APOC, 2 bars of left spin. Obviously, depending on the wind angle and wind strength, you might need to vary that top spin. So this is just an idea of the type of shot you might want to play if you want to go aggressive. Adjust max plus 10, max curl to the left, full overpower. It's a fairly slower needle because we weren't max distance after adjusting. And we're going to hit perfect and bounce on the fairway and go towards the green. And this is going to leave you a very, very simple wedge for the eagle. Like I said, the layup option, though, is still a very, very good chance. I would play the rough bump in all wind angles if you don't want to go aggressive. Endbringer School here, standard shot, no spin. If you're not familiar with this method, check out the Quickfire Endbringer tutorial on the Academy homepage. Usual elevation, plus 20, P5 numbers, because we were using a power 5 ball. But in short, those are the really the two ways to play this hole. Tailwind, go aggressive if you want to, but if you want to save on the ball, even in tailwind or headwind, the layup and rough bump, long iron or short iron, still a very good chance. On this par 5, we're going to go APOC and Grizzly, APOC 5 and above, P3 max rest, bullseye in the middle of that fairway pad, and then we add our spin, and we're going with 3 top spin and 3 left spin. In fact, I go 3.2 top spin and 3 left spin. You might want to tweak the left spin by a click further down to around 2.8, 2.9 if you feel this one is too close to the rough for comfort. If you've got APOC 4, you stretch out 1.7 rings to find your position. Max plus 10, power 3 settings, no push-up unless you have APOC 4, in which case you would push up 6 yards. And we're going with some curl here. You can see it is 1.5 ball of curl just before the circle drops as our overpower reference there. Hitting perfect, bouncing nicely on the pad, and then rolling nicely. You can see it is a bit close to the rough. If you're worried about that, either reduce the curl or reduce the left spin. Second shot, we're going to do a pin check here, put the bullseye over the pin. Grizzly 9 is +4. Grizzly 7 and 8 is going to be +7. In both of those cases, we're going to play 70% slider, -20 elevation. The spins used here, 2 top spin and 2 bars of right spin. Might need to vary the top spin by a click or two either way, depending on your drive, but I'm looking at having the red ring touching the rough line and the ball guide going to the pin. 2% per yard, so if your pin check was +3, you are nearer, so you go 68% slider instead. So -20 elevation, this one does play uphill. Pulling over the bullseye here with the Grizzly, then we're going to hit perfect. Centering the ball. There we go, there's a perfect, and it's going to catch the rough very nicely. Rolling onto the green and dropping right at the pin for the albatross. Par 4 here on Quail Hollow. I'm using the quarterback to set up. Middle of the fairway, ball guide pointing there between the 2 flagpoles, if they are still there in the game when you come to play, of course. Then we switch to APOC and go with 5.5 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the right. Katana or Kingmaker, very useful on this hole because it is a dogleg, so that extra bit of side spin rather than a Titan will help you out, particularly if you are struggling with curl on your driver. The APOC is very good on this hole. Max +10 is what we're going with here, and making our adjustment, we are not going to push up, we're going to go instead with full overpower. It's a slower needle, and you can see I'm using 2 ball of curl to the right. If you haven't got that curl available, you might need to dial back the top spin, because you otherwise will risk the rough further on the left hand side of the fairway. So just see what you've got in your bag when you come to look at this shot. Now the second shot here, I'm playing a rough bump. It was back in the early days of me discovering this course. I don't think that's the best way to proceed, not in certain wind angles anyway. It might get very technical. Putting it here as an example, we're playing rings from min, -15 because I just down that slope in this wind angle. However, this does require a token. Regardless of your wind angle, you will need a token or two to try and dial this one in, because you're either going to adjust downhill or up onto the fairway, and it is a technical shot. Also, a great right might miss the rough. You can see I'm aiming right at the edge of the fairway. Now, if you're not fancying it, and really as a more general recommendation, I would play the standard bounce shot instead. You can still use a sniper, but play with a few bars of backspin, a little bit of left spin, so you don't have to aim near that rough at all. Use the left spin so you can aim on the middle of the fairway and dial in the bounce shot instead. Now, if you're playing the backspin shot, I'd play minimum 0 elevation. If you've got stronger wind or crosswind, probably 10, maybe even 20, depending how you're setting up the shot. You've got some alternatives on the approach on this par 4. On this hole here, we're going to go with APOC and Sniper. Spins first, 5.8 top spin and 2 left spin. Ring references are as follows. APOC 5 and 6, red ring touching the rough at the top of +10. In fact, sorry, it's a correction there. 20% of the red ring overlapping the rough. I just shifted that one slightly to the left. So 20% of the red ring in the rough. APOC 4 will be red ring touching though, but you will be at P3 max rest, so that will be at +16. Adjustment here, max +10. For me, that is, I believe, 6.4 rings. Then we're going to leave it where it is, centering the ball, no overpower, no underpower, hitting perfect. We want to bounce firstly on the fairway, then onto the next piece of fairway, and then into the rough and roll out. You might need to tweak the top spin based on the wind strength, take a token or two and find out if that's the case. Drive distance of around 375, then second shot we're adding 1 bar of left spin. And here I'm having the ball guide stopping a good couple of green squares short. Need to just modify the aim slightly here, though this one comes in a little bit on the hot side, pointing more or less at the pin. And the adjustment here, I would like you to play landing position plus yards, 10% elevation, but power 1 settings. Now for +9 with sniper 10, it will be +11 with sniper 9. We're going to go 92% on the slider. You will see this one, though, come in a little bit hot. So based on the miss in the video, you will then need to tweak the aim in terms of the ball guide reference. I would maybe add a click or two of backspin, or you could just move further back with your aim. You can see here, the line is good, just skimming over the right edge of the hole. Tough par 4 here. I don't really recommend wasting anything other than a kingmaker on this one. Definitely no more power than that's not going to achieve much more, really, in my opinion. But of course, if you want to go more aggressive, you can do. Adding our spin there, we're going with 5.8 top spin, a little bit of left spin. Aiming, I'm using those flagpoles there. They may not be present, though, in the version of the game that you currently have, as they were there for a tournament. So it's up to you whether you use those as a reference. If not, you can use the bullseye in the fairway. But aiming comfortably down the middle anyway. Max +10 APOC is what I'm going with here. But as you can see, I'm not using the curl. So if you don't have APOC, you can play this with Extra Mile, or you could play Thor's Hammer. Max +10 is the elevation I go with in all wind angles on this drive. This hole is fairly flat, so 10% elevation just going to help with a little bit of the wind push. 360 yards is going to get you into sniper range. The difficulty with the second shot is consistency. It's very difficult to find a decent bounce point and then to get a good run onto the green. You can see there the ball guide does jump around a little bit, so you might need to do a bit of mix and match on the spins to get something that works nicely. The other problem here is that the green, once the ball enters the green, it is downhill. So speed control is an issue, and you will see that that is an issue that I had when I was playing this particular wind angle. We're going to play with some backspin, a little bit of left spin, but like I say, it may vary depending where you are after you drive and what wind angle you've got on the approach. But generally I'm bouncing down with a sniper with that ball guide, and in the video here, as I'm at max distance of my club, I play this one maximum distance with 10% elevation. Now if you're playing into a load of headwind, get as far as you can without risking the rough. You might need the big dog or the cataclysm. Nothing wrong with a safe birdie on this hole if the wind angle is nasty. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.